One. So this is going to be my speedrun of all true expert chimps on Bloons Tower Defense 6. So need to open my daily chest. I guess before we would get started, we would pick a skin. So I'm going to just choose this skin, this skin, this skin, and this skin. Cool. So yeah, so Bloons Tower Defense 6 is a very popular tower defense game. The idea is you have these balloons that come on screen, and you need to place down these towers that that are monkey themed to pop them. In this game, there are 82 maps segmented between beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert. Then when you play this game, if you start playing expert maps, you'll find that 4 of the expert maps are quite a bit harder than the rest, those 4 being Ravine, Bloody Puddles, Quad, and #ouch. So in the community, we deem these 4 maps as true expert maps. So what we're going to be doing is playing all 4 of them. And specifically, we're going to be playing the Chimps medal. So what the Chimps medal is Chimps is an acronym for no continues, health, income, monkey knowledge, powers, or selling. Because of these restrictions, it's usually considered to be the hardest game mode. And so what we're going to be doing is playing the hardest game mode on the hardest 4 maps. Timing will start when I click OK. Sorry, let me walk my cat out. All right, so timing is going to start when I click OK. So 3, 2, 1, start. So what you might be wondering if you're not super familiar with this game is like, hey, isn't this a tower defense game? Isn't this an auto-scroller? And I think I like to call it auto-scroller adjacent. The balloons do take a fixed amount of time to spawn in, but you can't really advance to the next round until all of the balloons from the previous round have been popped. So if you're able to pop all of the balloons as soon as possible, then you'll actually be a lot faster than if you aren't able to do that. So you can actually save quite a bit of time from that. So in this game, like as is standard with tower defense games, the balloons sort of get stronger and stronger as you kind of go on. And what we need to do is, as you progress through the game, you get more money, and then you use that money to upgrade your towers for that. But then what we're going to try to do right now is to save up for a very special tower called a hero. So we'll be getting that down soon. A hero is similar to these other towers, except they're actually very valuable because they upgrade automatically throughout the game. So for their price, they're actually extremely good. So you usually want to get down your hero, and you want to get down your hero as sort of soon as possible. Heroes also have these active abilities. So this hero is Etienne. Etienne has these drones that come out and pop balloons, but you can also activate the ability here, which causes more drones to come out and pop balloons. And the balloons are basically what the active ability does is it lets you kind of push through some tougher rounds as you kind of save up money to upgrade your towers. So we're going to be using that here on round 21 as well. So we'll do this to try to push through it so that we can then upgrade this sub, save up money to upgrade this sub, which will make things a lot easier. So what we're trying to do is we're doing what we call the early game. So the early game, so in Chimps, you start on round 6 and you go to round 100. The early game is we consider to be round 6 to round 40. And what we're trying to do is basically create a setup that gets us to round 40 and past round 40. Round 40 is a little bit of a difficulty spike in general. We'll see it in a bit. But yeah, a very common early game tower is this submarine. I'd actually really recommend it if you're playing this casually, if you can. Then we're getting this boomerang here, which is it's going to be another pretty good early game tower. So, sort of to get back to Etienne, our hero. So Etienne has a few characteristics. So heroes have a bunch of gimmicks. Etienne has one particular gimmick that makes Etienne very popular among new players. Is so in this round actually there's a specific category of balloons called camo balloons, and the problem with camo balloons is most towers can't see them without camo detection. So what Etienne does is he can give all towers on the map camo detection when he gets to level 8. So that's very nice. That's not the reason why we're using him. The other really nice thing about him is that all towers in Etienne's range also get extra range. So you have this range border. For every tower, the range border gets larger, and basically any balloon within the range border that tower is able to hit. So on a map like this, so you can see that this map is kind of weird. There's 4 overlapping lanes, and each lane basically goes from one side of the map to the other. This is kind of a very annoying map, and it's really hard to make a setup that kind of covers everything because of the way that this map is laid out. So I sound uncomfortable and stressed. This is a hard run. All right, so round 40. So before we've had regular balloons, but round 40 has a bit of a difficulty spike because there's this big blimp that comes in, and inside the blimp is a bunch of ceramics. So ceramics are very tanky, and then the blimps themselves are also very tanky. They can be hard to deal with. You need to make sure that you have a setup that can handle it, which we do, especially with Etienne's active ability. Then now what we're doing is we're now in our middle game, so what we're going to try to do is set up the middle game. A lot of times in these expert maps, you're going to transition off of you're going to basically abandon your early game and then transition into your middle game, so that's what we're going to do. Our middle game, what we're going to try to do is get down a glue gunner, but in a very specific spot. So a glue gunner is a land tower, like this boomerang is a land tower, but then this sub is a water tower. So water towers can be placed in water, as kind of implied by their name. But land towers can be placed on land. But then there's this nice tower called the Ice Monkey. And the Ice Monkey has this middle path that lets you freeze water and then put land towers in the water. So we're gonna make use of that so that we can place down our glue gunner in the middle. And so the main reason why we're using Etienne is because of his range buff. He's able to give this glue gunner enough range to cover the entire, basically the entire map. And which is gonna be very important, particularly throughout the game, not just the late game. So here we're getting another tower called the Alchemist. The Alchemist is extremely strong, this top path. What it does is it throws a potion onto nearby towers, which make them a lot stronger. So, highly recommend doing that, using the Alchemist if you can. Then we also unlock this new ability called the UCAV. What this does, it creates this big drone that does this bunch of damage to everything. So it's very, very helpful. Oops. And so now we have this balloon liquefier, and we're gonna then try to upgrade this to our tier 5. So if you kind of look at the upgrades, there's 5 layers of upgrades you can get. So we call it tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What you want to do in Chimps in general is to get at least 1 tier 5. So actually in this particular one we'll get 2, but you want at least 1, and then you want to invest in either another tier 5 or some support. And now we have kind of our mid-game set. Mid-game is what we consider rounds 40 to round 80. Round 60 is kind of the next difficulty spike because before all of the blimps were blue, but then we're going to get a much bigger red blimp, which has a bunch of which it takes a lot more hits, so it spawns red balloons. Oh, thanks for the congrats. And so now what we're trying to, now the next difficulty spike after this is round 63. So the reason why round 63 is usually difficult is the previous rounds have a mix of blimps and regular balloons, but round 63 kind of changes things a bit. Round 63 has rushes of ceramics, which a lot of times when you create a defense that handles up to round 63, it won't work for 63. But because we have this glue gunner does very well again. It's like meant for rounds like 63. Well, I haven't described the glue gunner. So the glue gunner the main purpose of the glue gunner is to slow down balloons. But there's this specific top path of this glue gunner that also damages balloons. So we're going to be using that in this run. We'll see the other glue gunners later on, so... And then we got this other tower called the Spike Storm. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a synergy. So what a synergy is you want to get down towers that kind of pair well with each other. So, for example, this glue gunner is going to excel at popping specifically ceramics, but it's going to struggle to blimps. So what we're going to do is to kind of complement that is get this Spike Storm. So the Spike Storm does a very good job at popping down popping down blimps. And this Spike Storm also has this active ability that covers the whole map with spikes for a small amount of time. So we're going to make use of that to kind of accelerate the popping of some of these blimps. And then as we do this, we're going to basically save up for the balloon solver, which is going to be in a little bit, but I think in a GDQ run, this would be a good time for donations. We could probably just run an ad. Yeah, does he sound uncomfortable and stressed? Yeah, I'm uncomfortable and stressed. This is a hard category. Alright, we gotta do that, I think. Yeah, commentary practice. That's why I'm practicing. It takes time to be able to get this, to do commentary well. Yeah, unfortunate example of practice. Being the maps. If I only had to focus on one, it would be fine. Okay, round 75 is actually kind of another difficulty spike, but we're fine. It's more of a difficulty spike on things like, I guess, on like half cash or other game modes. It's not usually the hardest thing in these Chimps runs. And then the next difficulty spike after this will be round 78. Round 78 has 2 ceramic rushes, but Balloon Solver is made to handle round 78, so it's not going to be an issue for us. See, it pops down the ceramics super fast. The next difficulty spike after this is round 80, but round 80, instead of this red blimp, it's going to have this giant green blimp, which it takes a lot of hits to pop down. They're actually very strong. So we'll see. Oh, and one thing I also forgot to mention is that not only are there blimps, they're also fortified blimps. So you'll see 2 fortified blimps that have, they basically have these stripes on them that are fortifications, which basically double the XP of them. We'll see it here. So this is a fortified blimp. It's got these 2 fortifications on it. And then round 80, we're going to see this green guy. The Spike Storm pops it down pretty well. So the next tier 5 we're going to be trying to get, so now we transitioned into the late game, which is round 81 to 100. The issue with that is the blimps get a lot more dense, and the blimps get stronger, and also the ceramics inside also get stronger. They turn into super ceramics. Probably need to look up what the exact difference is, but basically the 80s get a lot stronger. So what we're going to try to do is get a second tier 5, which is the Carpet of Spikes. So you can see the Spike Storm. I'm like actively pressing this button so that it covers the whole track with spikes. What Carpet of Spikes does is it does that same ability but passively. So every few seconds it's going to cover the entire map with spikes without me having to do anything, which is pretty powerful. And again, like, this is going to be the thing that sort of pops down the blimps. 60 HP instead of 10, and I'll have single children. Yeah, I think Frosty mentioned that it was to reduce lag. And so here we'll get Carpet of Spikes, and now we'll see that this ability gets activated passively, which is very nice. This map has these barriers. These barriers are actually really annoying. They slow things down quite a bit because you're not able to hit things that are behind the barriers. So in speedruns especially, having any delay in popping the balloons makes things slower. So this map is actually quite a bit slower because of that. Do who'll be on the couch in GDQ? I do not. I'm trying to get Frosty in it, but he's gonna have to do it remotely, and remote commentators are not easy. There's like an application process to get remote commentators. So now we're gonna get this Mermonkey, which is a really good way of making the Spike Factory better. It increases the Pierce. We're then gonna get a support tower. It's gonna be the why do we have to go the top path on the Spike? The money, I want to be able to get for round 85. I want to be able to click on it so I get like an extra ability to speed it up. So I don't think you can do that if you get the whole top path, and you don't need the lead popping until 90 anyway, so. So the 90s introduced a tower called a DDT, which they kind of don't exist in this run. It's kind of funny how you barely see them. They'll be a lot more important in later runs, where we have to deal with them explicitly. So round 96 and 98 are kind of the next real tough rounds. Also 97 has fortified ZOMGs, which is kind of rough. Alright, so here 98 is the densest round, so it's usually pretty hard, but I think that will oh, whoops. Okay, cool, and then nice. Okay, so that's the first map done, which was quad. So now we'll go to this map, which is hashtag ouch. Ouch is kind of the canonical expert map, I think. Also on round 100, I guess there was this big purple guy that was called the BAD. It's usually pretty hard to deal with, but the Spike Storm handles it pretty well. But yeah, so this is hashtag ouch. I think you can tell this map kind of looks pretty hard. There are 4 lanes that intersect in a hashtag pattern. The balloons move fairly quickly. We're kind of barely surviving, I think. There's a big body of water in the middle, which you can actually remove, but what we're going to do is we're going to keep the body of water and employ a water-based strategy. And we're going to be using a hero called Admiral Brickle. Double Desperados. Removing water strats, yeah. You use land starts if you want to remove the water, but the dart sub is like quite a bit easier. But yeah, so Admiral Brickle is a very... I guess, I don't know if this is called Admiral Brickle now that we have the Lifeguard skin. Lifeguard Brickle. She has these abilities that provide some very nice buffs to water towers, so we'll see that in a bit. Specifically, so the first ability that she has is Naval Tactics, although round 15 actually is a bit random. You can die to it. She also drops these mines that... Ooh.
There's a rip current. Go ahead.
Okay, there we go.
Will go.
So we'll see on round 18, we're going to use Naval Tactics. So what that does is that allows all your water towers to pop any type of balloon, and it also increases the attack speed of them, I believe. I don't think it increases the damage, but it increases the attack speed. So we used it there to kind of make round 20 or round 18 more consistent. Whoops. All right, so now we'll transition into our strategy by getting down this Monkey Buccaneer. I'm gonna just call it a boat because it's easier to say. This is gonna eventually transition into our first tier 5. Then round. See, so sorry, I need to get this guy here, and I need to get this guy here, and then we can start upgrading this boat. We'll also use Naval Tactics. It'll let all of our towers pop leads, even though they can't technically do that yet, except for the sniper. So what we're going to try to do is get down a destroyer, convert the boat into a destroyer. So the destroyer is a very good tower for its price, especially on this map. So what it does is, so what you can see is the boat is it fires in 2 directions. So for a map like this where the balloons are going to be in 2 directions, it's very helpful. Then we got Grape Shot, so that increases the projectiles by a substantial amount. And then Destroyer makes this guy fire really quickly. So for its price, this is actually a really good damage tower. And then we'll upgrade it later. And we really want this by round 36, because round 36 gets pretty hard. When you don't have it, or very inconsistent when you don't have it. So yeah, we got it now. And yeah, in round 36, you can tell that there's big rushes of pinks that are not the easiest to deal with. Then here, we're going to get a second boat. This boat's going to be a little bit different. We're going to go with the middle path. It's not really going to be... Right now, it's just for a little bit of extra consistency, getting it this early. But it's gonna be very, very important later, particularly for this map. Round 40, the round 40 difficulty spike will usually be okay, but it's gonna be fine because we have Brickle's Naval Tactics. If we didn't use Naval Tactics, we would actually die, but Naval Tactics is really, really good for water towers. Because we don't have Etienne, we don't have camo detection, so a very common way of getting camo detection is with this radar scanner village. And then what we're going to do is upgrade this boat to an aircraft carrier. The reason being is, so what the aircraft carrier does is, in addition to having these destroyer capabilities with it shooting in all these directions, it also creates these airplanes. The airplanes will they fly around kind of randomly, but they'll hit things sort of in a kind of a global range way. So it turns this tower into a global range tower. And then the other nice thing it does is it shoots missiles at Moabs, which does a pretty decent amount of damage to them. So both of those things are pretty nice. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll see the aircraft carrier right now. Yeah, you can see these planes fly around. So a lot of people don't like this tower because of how random the planes can be, but it kind of compensates by, especially when you have a map like this where the main attack is pretty powerful, it kind of compensates for it, I think. So, but the strategy can be a little inconsistent because of that, so... So now we're going to upgrade to the next thing, which is the Monkey Pirates. Monkey Pirates, it has a decent main attack, but the main reason why we're going to be using it is for its active ability, which is this harpoon. So what the harpoon does is, we'll actually see it in a bit. There's going to be a second mob that comes on the top right, and we're going to just insta-kill it. So it's really important for speedrunning to pop things kind of as soon as the last balloon spawns in, and if the last balloon is a Moab, the Pirate Lord or the Monkey Pirates is actually a really good way of doing that. So So now what we're going to do is get down a Mermonkey. So I mentioned before, we saw this Mermonkey before. What the Mermonkey does is it increases the pierce of all the towers in its range. And it's actually really important for that, in this map, because these towers don't do a very good job at ceramic cleanup. But with the Mermonkey, it does quite a bit better. I was actually kind of surprised at how much better it was, so... then the next difficulty spike, round 60, the Monkey Pirates just insta-kills it, so... Yeah, longer range first into twin gun self-success. Makes sense. That's what I used to do when I was doing this map for my original Black Border. Oh, so now also, Brickle has a second ability, which is, I think... people would say it's the best ability in the game. It has this mine. This is the Mega Mine. It looks kind of weird with this skin. I really like the default skin a lot better for this. But basically what it does is we'll see here. So I'll just use it on this fortified thing. So you place it in the water, and then it basically does big damage to big balloons. So... hero skins. There's a donation incentive for the hero skins, so yeah. Round 63, we'll try to use naval tactics for one rush, and then everything handles it. It should handle it pretty well. So now we'll try to use a Mega Mine for this. But yeah, then in a GDQ run, this would be a great time for donations, because now we're kind of just saving up for our next tier 5, which is the carrier flagship. Ooh, can I run an ad? Alright, hook that guy. Alright, we want to put a Mega Mine here. I'm actually surprised that longer range is that much more consistent. I feel it would be worse, but like I really liked that you were able to greet into airburst starts like that. Oh, and we... Okay, we're up... Okay, we get carrier flagship. So carrier flagship is like the aircraft carrier, but better. It's like everything is just better. You can... There are these platforms you can actually place towers on top of. We're not going to use that, but you can do that. It also buffs water towers. You can see like there's this carrier flagship symbol on it. I think it buffs the attack speed, I believe. It also buffs the attack speed of monkey aces, which we're not going to use here, but it does do that, which is cool. So now that we have that, we're going to save up for our next tier 5, which is the Pirate Lord, which is extremely important for going fast for the same reason. So the Monkey Pirates, you can see what it can pull in one regular mob or one BFB. The Pirate Lord, though, lets it pull in multiple Moabs or multiple BFBs, and it also lets you pull in 2 ZOMGs, which is huge. There aren't a lot of towers that kill ZOMGs very quickly, so having a Pirate Lord is really nice for that, even for speedruns. So round 78, there's a little trick you can do with Brickle, is you can use naval tactics for each ceramic rush. I forgot to, but you can for safety, or in like other maps where you kind of have to do that. And the cooldown actually comes off. It comes off cooldown by the time the second rush comes around. So that's just a neat trick you can do. So. Alright, we'll Mega Mine that guy and hook this guy. Then the ZOMG naval tactics will melt it, so that's pretty cool. And so now we're going to save up for Pirate Lord. I'm going to just put this here. And so we'll see the example of Pirate Lord pulling in multiple BFBs here, like that. Okay, so now what we're going to actually do is get a third tier 5. So we're going to get a Glue Gunner, but this time instead of the top path, we're going to go with the middle path. So the middle path has an active ability, which is extremely good. What it does is, I mentioned there's balloons with there's DDTs. So DDTs have lead. They have lead immunities, black immunities, and camo immunities. Oh, we'll see the pulling in 2 ZOMGs here. But what this Glue Gunner does is it has this ability called the this is the Glue Strike, and what that does is that removes all of the immunities that make us unable to pop DDTs. Oh, whoops. Okay, well. And what it does is it debuffs balloons and it removes their immunities, so it's very helpful for that. And then what we're going to do is upgrade it to Glue Storm, which is the same ability, but it lasts substantially longer, as we'll see. And what we're going to do is use that to pop DD to basically allow us to pop DDTs. So here we'll see the Glue Storm, and we'll do this, and it just rains down glue, which slows all regular balloons, debuffs all the Moabs, and removes the immunities. So it's great, very good. I'll do this here. Oh no, shit. Oh no. Fuck. Okay, we're gonna have to do this then. I kind of messed up. I wasn't supposed to use naval tactics. So this is one of the ones where I can actually brick the run from doing things improperly. So now we can do this. but I think we're okay for now. Don't want to swear at GDQ, so I think I'll let my co-commentators handle this. What?
Raise your hand and ride the red.
Alright, let's just focus up here. Alright, there we go. Alright, so it wasn't really the easiest to see, but what we did was on round 100, we got something called a first strike submarine. And what that did is it lets you, if you time it right, you can actually layer skip the round 100 purple guy. So yeah. So next up, we're doing Bloody Puddles. This used to be the hardest map in the game with a really god-awful opener, but they introduced this new monkey called the Desperado, which makes it substantially easier. It's very nice. And so what we're going to do in this strategy is we're going to do a kind of an interesting thing called the Axis of Havoc, where we try to build into all tier 5 snipers. So that's kind of cool. It's still pretty difficult. The opener is still like a bit inconsistent when you have auto start on. If you don't have auto start on, then the opener's fairly easy. But the thing is that when you place down a sniper, the sniper shot timings can be a bit variable depending on when you place it down. So if you place it in between the rounds, it makes it a lot, then it's not inconsistent. But I'm going to just place them during the round and hope that everything works out. So let's just get through this beginning. All right. That was so close. There was like a balloon that like went all the way up. We're going to use the sub again as our early game. Sub is just a very strong early game for a lot of maps. I think almost every expert map, I think all expert maps except one have water, so you're going to want to use a sub for all of them, except that one. Not all of them, but alright, this round can be finicky, but I think we survived. Okay, so the hero we're going to be using here is Gwendolyn. So Gwendolyn loves fire. Like, she really loves fire. Like, I can't really overstate how much she loves fire. And yeah, I know that Glue Storm only de-leads. I'm just gonna say removes immunities because that's easier to explain, I think. I just want to keep things simple. So the other thing about Gwendolyn is that all the towers in her range, she provides this buff to them, which is so at some point she's gonna get this what's called a heated up buff, and what that does is every time she attacks 40 times, all towers in her range get increased damage and lead popping power, which is extremely helpful. It's especially for something like snipers that really benefit from that. So, and then she's gonna get an active ability later that that also applies that heated up buff to every tower on the map, and that's going to be really important in the late game. She also has this other ability which just creates a little fire thing. Has pretty good pierce, so. And you can kind of tell this map is a bit hard. There are 5 lanes that you have to kind of manage simultaneously. It's kind of ridiculous. It's honestly kind of ridiculous, right? But what we do is you try to get kind of global range towers and try to get some also cheap towers that can handle, that you can then kind of sort of modularly handle. So that's why we got this wizard here. And then now we're going to prep for round 40. Round 40, we're going to want to use this alchemist on the sub, but we want to use it kind of at a specific time so that it applies the potions at the right time, because the potions wear off, and if they wear off at the wrong time on round 40, we will die miserably. But we got it, so. So now we're going to start building into our Axis of Havoc setup. With this discount village. Then what we're gonna actually do is, I guess Frosty did this. We're gonna just get a second discount village this early. We're not. I think the route that I use doesn't do that, but should be good. Yeah, we're gonna try to be greedy. And so I'll kind of describe the snipers. So what we're gonna first do is we're gonna try to build into the elite sniper first. So I actually personally find the elite sniper to be the best one. It's definitely the most important for Axis of Havoc strategies. So what this does is, so we have the bouncing bullet. So what that does is that'll shoot a bullet that will hit a balloon and then bounce to the next balloon. It's kind of the name would imply. And we'll get then upgraded to the supply drop. The supply drop for its price is not good. It like increases the damage, and increases the pierce a bit, but it's not really a great upgrade. The reason why this upgrade exists is in modes that aren't chimps, because it has this ability that gives you money. But because this is chimps, what the ability does is it gives us a crate that gives us $0, so that's very useful. Oh yeah, and I just also mentioned that the Axis of Havoc is an achievement in this game, but it's not just an achievement. It's actually like a very legitimate synergy when you apply it. Well, it actually works on like almost every map, like really well, because it's like it makes use of these global range towers. Yeah, so now we have the Firestorm ability. So the Firestorm ability sets all balloons on screen on fire and applies the heated up buff to every tower on screen. So that's very nice. We'll use it on round 60. So then the elite sniper, it's the same thing as the supply drop, except it ramps up the attack speed of this sniper very well. And the reason why we want to build into it first, usually for Axis of Havoc, is because it also provides an attack speed buff to all snipers that exist. So you can see here, there's like this elite sniper icon on this, so it has a faster attack speed. And then round 63, so we got this alchemist for the elite sniper. When you alch buff an elite sniper, it gets a lot better, and round 63 becomes nothing. Round 63 is also the reason why you want to get the elite sniper first, because otherwise you generally won't be able to handle round 63. Oops, not elite targeting. Yeah. Yeah, and so then this would actually be a good donation time as well, because now we're just saving up for our second tier 5 sniper, the elite defender. Oh yeah, and thanks for how cool it was to see my name. Yeah, it was. I was kind of shocked. Yeah, I'm being kind of lazy at not using my abilities, but it'll be okay. We'll use the ability for 68 for the BFB. I don't really know the ability timings to the optimal ability timings to the strategy, and I assume someone will come up with a faster strategy at some point. All right. So I guess so here there's with these villages there's this discount path, and what that does is any tower placed between within the range of the village, you get a discount on. And it's actually a very common setup to get 2 of these kinds of villages, so that way you can balance the other 2 paths and have like as many towers get all the paths as possible. And if you have this setup, you can actually save quite a bit of money if you place a lot of towers in their range. It's pretty powerful. And then here we got our second tier 5 sniper, which is the elite defender, which I think is the worst one. This 205 elite defender is not great, but it is very good in the middle game. It's also very easy to understand, and it's everybody's favorite sniper because it's just a medium amount of damage, but very, very fast. So just fires super fast. So a lot of people really like it. Whereas the elite sniper doesn't fire nearly as fast, it doesn't do nearly as much damage, but the pierce and the sniper buffs are very strong. Alright, so now we're going to get our third, and we're actually I'm gonna pre-place down 2 more snipers. So what this third sniper is we're gonna make this a main Moab. So what main Moab does is it does extra damage to Moabs, and it also stuns them for a little bit. So it's actually a very powerful. It's actually pretty good it's very nice for the stalling abilities. Around 78 with the elite sniper is very straightforward. And then with the Axis of Havoc, the real thing about a lot of the snipers are very cheap, so on a lot of maps, you're not going to be able to just get all 3 tier 5 snipers and win. You need to supplement it with some kind of ceramic cleanup. So one real common way of getting ceramic cleanup is by spamming some bouncing bullet snipers with alchemists on them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get 2 of those here, and for some reason, reasons I don't actually really understand, it does a pretty solid job at cleanup. So I've never quite understood why it's so powerful, but it is pretty powerful. But I think particularly with the elite sniper, it is pretty good. Okay, so now there's this big truck in the middle, so you can see there's this line of sight barrier. It's nice to remove that, so we'll remove that. Oh. So this helicopter tried to remove it and then crashed and then created another line of sight barrier, so we have to spend extra money to remove it. I just always thought that was really funny because like when you first play this map and you experience that, it's like the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody. So it's good. Now we're gonna try to. So the next tier 5 sniper that we need to get is the Cripple Moab, but before we do that, we do need to get a bit of support first. So we're gonna get another glue gunner. So this time we're gonna go with the bottom path, which is actually the best glue gunner path. So the Moab glue in particular is really good for slowing down Moabs. And then we also get the relentless glue on top of that. So whenever a Moab breaks open, all of the balloons inside of it will get stunned temporarily. It's actually really, really good. So the relentless glue is like Moab glue is like one of the best towers in the game. So as a support tower in the late game, you really do need support towers in the late game. And then the next support tower that we're getting is the Moab Press. What the Moab Press does is it actually makes Moabs move backwards every few hits. So you can see that this is actually getting stalled out really well and moving backwards, which is being able to move Moabs backwards is really powerful. So now kind of the way that this is set up is we put all of our stalling on the left side. And so what this is basically doing, it's a very common setup for multi-lane maps. What you do is you invest in stalling one of the lanes, and then in the other lane you kind of just let it go. And then a tower like the snipers, they're all on first targeting, so they're going to hit whatever goes farther down the track first. So what you're going to do is you stall out one lane so that the snipers focus on the other lane. And what you kind of have done is you've turned a multi-lane map into kind of a pseudo single lane map. So that's just a very nice way of dealing with it, and it's kind of what we did here, even though that's what we're kind of doing here. So the snipers are going to focus on the right lane while this left lane gets stalled out. So Cripple Moab, it's like main Moab, except it ramps up the damage a lot. And it also has a debuff effect on Moab, so which is particularly important for round 100. It makes all the other towers do more damage to that. And then it also creates some explosions, which actually damage, so it has a little bit more pierce than a regular main Moab would. Alright, so now we'll get Cripple Moab. A lot of times you want to set your Cripple Moab to strong, but for some reason on this strategy, keeping it on first is a lot better. Saw people like laugh at that on Frosty's stream, or not Frosty's stream, Frosty's run at the hotfix, but for whatever reason, keeping it on first ends up being pretty good. That's because of the line of sight. It stalls all the other Moabs anyway. And so then we're going to get a first strike. This is just to accelerate round 100. We're going to try to layer skip it again. But it's actually completely optional. This strategy is so good that you don't actually need this first strike at all. Okay, and now we will do the last map, which is Ravine.
I use only the finest components.
Okay, so Ravine has this really awful, miserable start. It's very precise. Ravine actually used to be impossible when the map came out, but then Ninja Kiwi added this sword. And what this sword lets you do is it lets you pop this random green on round 7 that usually will get by. Which we'll see, but once I... Okay, so there's one green here that we're gonna Try to pop down. There we go. And we're gonna basically, you kind of have to start out with these dart monkeys. It's kind of annoying. Specifically, this 5th dart monkey is actually very hard to do in speedruns because it's actually kind of precise and you have to do it pretty quickly. And I'm not gonna know until round 11 if I place this properly, so. All right, okay, that should be good. So round 11 is fine. All right, so we're using a new hero, a different hero, which is Geraldo. So if you remember the previous heroes, what the previous heroes is, they had a main attack that kind of got stronger as you went on, and they had some abilities that that we use to kind of get past some difficult rounds. Geraldo doesn't have either of those. His main attack is kind of bad, and he doesn't have any abilities, but what he does have is he has a shop full of items, and what these items are is they're generally pretty good value for their price. And you can use them like, so we're getting these turrets in the early game, which are basically like better, slightly more expensive dart monkeys, but that are a lot better. Then there are these spikes, which are pretty good RNG prevention. And also just catches leaks that can sometimes happen in a lot of setups. Yeah, another really powerful item is this glue. This glue is actually very broken. It used to be more broken, but it got more expensive. But basically, like, if you find yourself dying with Geraldo, what you can often do is just chuck down a glue at the entrance, and then you'll survive. So it's very good. And we're going to use this kind of to transition to our early game, which is going to be a Druid of the Jungle. So Druid of the Jungle is a very popular tower. It's a very popular tower with newer players, and it's a very unpopular tower with expert Chimps players. But then it becomes very popular with speedruns as well, because it creates this vine that like spawns at the start of the map, which, you know, we're trying to go fast, so it's actually very important for going fast to have something that spawns at the start of the map with global range. I'm gonna try to place this down like this. Yeah, there we go. Then we're gonna transition to the next part of our early and mid game, which is gonna be this Monkey Ace. So the Monkey Ace is usually kind of crappy because it shoots darts outwards that never hit anything. Oh, also Geraldo has this camo potion that lets one tower pop camo balloons for a temporary amount of time, which is very helpful. But yeah, so the Monkey Ace, like it shoots these darts outwards, and it's hard to hit anything unless you change. You can do like some fancy micro stuff to where you change the flight path in weird ways to keep the Monkey Ace so that it can so that it can actually pop things. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this bottom path, which makes the darts home in on balloons. So it's called never miss targeting. It does miss sometimes, but there are worse things. So we'll also give it a camo potion because we need that. Another very nice thing that we're going to use is a jar of pickles. So the jar of pickles, what this does is it increases the damage of the tower while reducing the attack speed. For something like the Monkey Ace, that ends up being like a net positive. For other towers, it can be a net negative. So you need to kind of really understand things. For round 40, you can use a blade trap to melt the insides of the Moab, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so we're gonna get a camo village. So the thing about pickles is that you don't. What we're gonna do instead of pickles though is we're gonna get an alchemist, and the alchemist kind of does the same thing as pickles except better because it doesn't reduce the attack speed. So oftentimes if you can get an alchemist, then you don't need to use the pickles anymore. Oh yeah. Particularly the stronger stimulant alchemist. All right, so now we're gonna now get a second monkey ace. This monkey ace, we're not gonna get the bottom path, so our darts will often miss, but we are gonna get the top path. So the top path has what it does is once we get to the tier 3 top path, it starts shooting a missile that does some pretty solid damage to Moabs. So this is going to comprise 2/3 of our mid game. We'll see the third one in like 10 rounds or so. Yeah, so this Operation Dartstorm with an Alch buff in particular does a pretty solid job at popping down Moabs. So you see there's this bunny here that costs almost $2,000, but it's kind of cute, so let's just buy it. These juggernauts on this map are very strong at what they're basically here for is to basically what this does is it's not really the damage. It has a lot of pierce. It doesn't do that much damage, but what it does do is it knocks back balloons. In particular, it'll knock back ceramics. So it's actually very very good in the late game at for its price at knocking back ceramics, especially on maps that have walls and line of sight blockers because it bounces them off of them. So it's very good. So I got a second bunny. We'll actually get a third bunny because that's just how cute they are. And then we'll even get a fourth one. That's just how much we like them. Let's live on strong. And then when we get the fourth one, it turns into this monster that pops everything. It's very funny. So I think this is a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail because in that movie there's this bunny that jumps around and bites people's heads off, and it's really funny. In particular, this bunny really excels at ceramic cleanup, especially in the mid-game. It also does damage to Moab, so we're going to keep it on strong. And we'll see on 63, it does a really good job on 63. Oh, let's get sharper darts on this guy. Yeah, so 63 becomes nothing, so... So the next part is on when Geraldo gets to level 13, we're gonna get these upgraded turrets that are actually really good damage for their price, really good damage and pierce for the price. So we're gonna actually try spamming them a lot, as much as we possibly can, particularly in the back to help with the ceramic cleanup as well. This will be on round 67. But in the meantime, yeah, there's, I think this is a good donation time. I'll just run an ad during it. Good ad time. Okay. Shinji Boomers looks super cool. Yeah, I'm so excited. Apparently there's one more thing coming. I'm really excited. And I'm gonna definitely wear it, the shirt and hat during the marathon. I think that's what they wanted. Well, they wanted a picture actually, so I'll do that as well. Alright, so round 75 actually is a little sketchy. Hopefully it works out. Should also set these guys to first.
Curiosity is the name of the game.
Oh, I need to this here. Yeah, so for the ceramic rushes, a lot of times you can just chuck a glue and that helps a lot. Then what we're gonna do also on for 78 is we're gonna get these things called creepy idols. The creepy idols, what they do is they blow back balloons and also stall Moabs, so they're actually really good. And then we're gonna also time some glues so that we put the glues down for each ceramic rush. GDQ is an in-person event, yeah. All right. And so now what we've been trying to do is, you see we have a lot of money. We've been trying to save up into Sky Shredder. Basically, this is like the Operation Dartstorm, but like, you know, the missiles are better and there's more darts. There's actually going to be a lot of darts on the screen. It's going to be kind of ridiculous. There we go. And then now we also have these upgraded spikes. Whoa, what was this? We have these upgraded spikes, which are actually really good. So we're gonna actually start spamming these out kind of as much as we possibly can. I guess we really do need centered path on that, so... Alright, so now we're gonna be getting our a couple support towers, or a few support towers. The main one's gonna be this overclock. The overclock is extremely good. What it does is it basically increases the attack speed of a single tower by quite a lot. So what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to use it on the Sky Shredder. You want to use it on like your most expensive tower usually. It's gonna make it quite a lot better and get us through some tough rounds. So here. And then another thing is that Geraldo has a shop refresh on round 90, so what we're going to try to do is use kind of as many items of his items as possible. Before then. So I think that's all we wanted to use, so... And so now what we're gonna do is get another support tower, which is a mortar. Specifically the Shattering Shells mortar. And what that does is it defortifies things, so that's actually really important for speedruns. Okay, let's yeah, this is actually a very difficult late game, by the way. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is get down these genies. Genies are very strong as well. And then we'll place down a blade traps to kind of help clean stuff up. All right, there we go. And that's the run. So one thing that it was hard to see was that what we did was we had this first strike submarine, and what you can do is there's Gerald has something called a rejuve potion. What that does is that removes all the cooldowns, or it removes all the cooldowns. So what that lets you do is that lets you get off 3 first strikes, which is extremely powerful for round 100. So we did that. We didn't time it right, so we didn't layer skip it, but we were able to use some other stuff to handle that. So yeah, so that's the run. That's a pretty good PB, I think. I think it beat out Frosty's time, so that's cool. But yeah, thanks for watching that.